Do you think it's easier for artists to be entrepreneurs, or do you think it's easier for entrepreneurs to be artistic?
It's hard for artists to be entrepreneurial, and I think entrepreneurs are easily artistic and creative because they have to be.
All right, because they have to be.
They are outside of their comfort zone from the day they started being an entrepreneur.
But entrepreneurs have this fearlessness about them.
We'll try any thing. You got to figure out your business as a creator. Otherwise, you can't create for long. You have to stop. Welcome to the Unfiltered Podcast. I'm your host, Raf, and this is my co-host, Saheer, the engineer.
Yeah.
What's good, bro?
Chillin', man. Always.
Yeah. You doing good?
Yeah, bro.
So, let's see. What's one thing that you're currently working on that you're trying to improve? Like that you're like, all right, man, this is something I need to improve.
Yeah.
I'm working on this.
Yeah.
You know?
Time management.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I've started writing things down.
Okay, that's great.
I've started taking time out of my life to write things down. I think I've been very freestyle oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever my mind might be thinking at that point, I start doing.
For sure.
Not planning ahead, plotting out,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Pacing yourself.
Yeah.
And especially with the kid, I'm sure you can attest
For sure.
that like time just flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just writing things down, plotting ahead.
Yeah.
Having more than just your mind to rely on. I think after a certain point, like you just can't think all the thoughts. You have to be able to reference, and you have to be able to come back to bookmarks, you know. So
I've been there, exactly same place where it's like,
man,
I'm feeling slumped, like overwhelmed with things to do.
Yeah. And
I'm doing my best to do exactly what I have to do right now.
Yeah.
You know, right now, boom, okay, I got to do this, and do it.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to have. Good skill. Do it now. You know, it's a great thing. But leaning onto it too much leads to problems because other things get like defocused and
overlooked,
falls off. Yeah, that's true.
Totally,
absolutely.
like you're like, oh damn, like you forget things.
Mm-hmm.
You're a day late now. It's it does happen. And
I have an amazing system to do this, and it's like I learned it from like tech jobs in the corporate world, like how they do project management.
Okay,
this is how I do life management.
Oh wow,
that's it.
Yeah. So this is the other episode. This is the next.
This is literally that episode. But
we'll get it. We'll get it done. How about you? What's one thing that you're working on?
One thing, it's a few things. Let me see which one I want to pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple of things going on. Let me see. I guess one of the main things in my life I'm working on right now would be like growing this brand, Unfiltered. You know, that's like one of the main things. But I think it's always a work in progress. Like all of the shit that I'm working on, like, you know, as we're working at Unfiltered, you know, such a small team that there's a lot of organizing to do. There's a lot of things to systemize, you know, and like it's an opportunity to start somewhere new, you know.
Yeah, and like and really exercise your abilities,
right?
And a fresh
use
slate.
like old experiences to like make something new, you know.
Exactly.
Like, so those are things I'm working on.
Working overtime, I'm sure.
Man, and one of the things that's been a pain in the ass for me, which has been a personal growth, is delegation more. You know, I realized through this process that I need to improve my delegation abilities.
How do you improve that? What do you mean?
Like I need to delegate more of the things that I'm doing because I enjoy certain parts of this job that a lot, and I don't think of ways to like cut out my task in that.
So it's sheer enjoyment.
I really enjoy not just the editing, bro. It's like I enjoy even the building the brand aspect of it, you know.
I think that's always there.
Yeah, I just love the colors, the text, the type of things.
Oh, like that.
You know, the type of things that are being said, you know. The typeface, you know, like the social media look, you know, the whole brand. You know, I enjoy this shit.
So you like the aesthetics part of it.
Yeah.
You have fun looking through different fonts.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Good Lord, bro.
Absolutely.
This is the most tedious part. I always put this off. That's also why, like, a lot of my album covers is like, I don't want to put any fonts on this shit. Just make it pictures, man. Because, like, I could never figure out what was good or what was well suited. And I feel like that's a skill set.
For sure.
That you have to develop, you know. And then I think that's rooted in passion. Right? So,
Yeah. From the launch of the podcast, it was like back-to-back things to do. You know, back-to-back. You know, just in the process of launching and getting content out there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's been like a lot of back-to-backs, and so now is the perfect time to like, you know what? Let's delegate and let's train more, like grow the team. Let's find more people. Yeah. You know, because now we have a nice little system. Right. We have a nice little routine every week. You know.
Right. Now we just want to stack.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit more and more and more.
We're growing out of this garage like like a startup. Like
bro. Right.
And
like, that's what we're here for. We're here to like expand but you're right about preserving the fabric of this brand.
That's the important part about, you know, being creative and having an entrepreneurial side as well. Like, I know, like, as a creative person myself, like, I know, like, the feeling of, like, capital, you know. Now I got to chase capital with all my creative stuff.
Everything.
You know?
Everything needs capital.
Everything needs capital.
Yeah, whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah. So I think, like, creative people can advantage a lot from being more entrepreneurial.
Oh, what? Yeah.
And then entrepreneurs can... you know, improve a lot by being more artistic, using their heart a little more, you know.
Dang, that's tough to tell folks on the other side of things. Right. I think what do you think though, real quick before we get into it? Like, do you think it's easier for artists to be entrepreneurs, or do you think it's easier for entrepreneurs to be artistic?
Honestly, I think it's hard for artists to be entrepreneurial.
That's harder.
Yeah, and I think entrepreneurs are easily artistic and creative because they have to be.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they have to be.
They have to be, and they are outside of their comfort zone from the day they started being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, I'll try this. You know, like
I see.
I'll try my creative side. It could go somewhere.
Right. So you're right. So entrepreneurs have this fearlessness about them.
Right. Yes. This fearlessness.
Like, we're gonna try anything.
We'll try anything.
Yeah.
We'll try any fucking thing. But like artists sometimes get so close to and I know you're an artist, so you're feeling this.
You feel free.
But artists get so close to the creation because every creation is like a baby, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know, it's hard to like separate from that and think capital after this. Like, where am I gonna get the money for this? You know.
Man, yeah.
But that's a hard thing to do for artists, I think.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Because like the amount of energy that it took to be an artist.
Right.
Now having to sell it.
Right.
That, and you know, back in the day there were teams that were dedicated to this part.
Right.
Now everybody's a brand.
You have to be a brand.
You're in the content game.
You're in the content game in a world that's completely bombarded with things that pull at their attention, you know.
Yeah.
It's like extremely
it's extremely what? Sorry.
No, it's extremely like packed. Like traffic saturated. Is really high, saturated.
Yeah.
That's the truth that many creatives feel as well. Like authors feel that too.
Oh, okay.
I'm in some like author groups. Authors fucking hate the marketing. You know, they just want to write. They just want to fucking write. Just sit somewhere, like close everything out. Like the family's out of here. We're gonna write. You know,
process.
They just want to write and just put out great books that they love. You know. But I'm seeing in these forums a lot of people like just going like, bro, I don't even want to do the social media thing. You know?
So the marketing has to somewhat tie in, right, to your production process?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's removed? What do you feel?
I feel like if you can marry the two, you're winning, you know? It's just because then you can do two things at the same time. Like, so what if you could work on a project while creating content, you know?
Well, creating content is one thing, but the marketing side is another. So content creation, we can always have the cameras rolling. Right. We can always pick up the behind the scenes stuff, the process of making the album, at least. That's a bare minimum. It's easy enough to do. Mm-hmm. That to me, I don't think is really marketing more so than it is like content, like you said. Right. Marketing to me, though, is more about how are we going to pitch this?
Right.
This whatever you just made, be it a book, be it a play, a screenplay, you know, or an album. So what I'm asking ultimately is like, do you think artists can make music right now without taking the marketing into account?
Yes and no. Right. The reason why I think yes, they can, because right now more than ever, the brand is king, you know. Okay. Brand is most important. If you can have strong brand, then you have good marketing and sales.
So what makes a strong brand to you?
Strong brand is like recognition, like how many people know you and what's your reputation among these people.
Okay.
All right. Like brand is just your reputation on the streets, you know?
Okay.
And right now for artists, brand is everything.
Okay.
If you can build a brand around your name,
agreed,
then it markets itself, you know? And how do you build a brand? You know, a few episodes ago we were talking about like the story for the artist.
Okay.
That story is the brand, you know, like everything about you is the brand. That's the thing that we need the audience to see, like who you are.
For the most part, I'm just trying to get more of a grasp about this balance between your creativity and being an entrepreneur, being able to sell, right? And why artists should be more entrepreneurial. And I agree to that, you know, so like I am looking for some more concrete advice, you know, as to like you talk about brand building. We talked about like having a story to what you're doing.
Right.
But then like what else is it that builds a brand? Is it like logos? Is it building a world, right? Essentially, like,
right. It's like associating yourself to things that they understand, the audience knows. All right. So that helps your reputation spread.
Right.
And that's literally what brand building is. And how do you associate is like just by, you know, continuing to drop content, being in front of them. Yeah. Like in the places where they are, you know? Okay. And then like by being in front of them in the places that they are, they'll start to associate you with certain things that you like agree with, certain things that you associate yourself with, you know? So for example, if you're talking about, let's just say you're talking about sound engineering on social media. Right. And you keep talking about it repeatedly and it shows up in the feeds of different engineers all over the world, they'll start associating you to this engineering brand, you know? Right. Because it's just association, you know, like, and they see you more. Right. And that's like the key that is probably missing for most artists. Most artists are in a cave. More. Yeah. Most artists are like, we're in recluse until album season, or like we're not gonna post anything until like the song is ready. We have something, you know, like if we're gonna give you some value, we'll give you the song, you know. You're not gonna see nothing else, you know. That's what they want, bro. Right? It's very true. Yeah, I am here to attest to that. That's how I have been. I'm trying to change that. Yeah, I'm trying to change that about myself, my personality, in that like I enjoy my privacy though. Right. You know, like I do. Look, man, authors enjoy their privacy too, right? Yeah. They love it. And you gotta pick something to share. Yeah, you gotta like sell that shit, because like, I'm sorry, the truth is you're in the content game. You know, you're in the attention business. This is the world now. That's it. If you're working in entertainment, I'm sorry, you know, you can't be a recluse. You have to be a marketer. You have to learn that side, you know, because you're in the content business, you're in the attention business, you're in the, you know, and during tough times, art is, you know, valued higher, you know, like, people need art more during tough times, and right now it's inflationary period. Like, people need the arts, you know, like throughout history, but nobody wants to value it. But like, that's the hard part, you know. Nobody wants to value it. Everybody needs arts. Everybody needs music, good music. No, of course, and that's what it allows people to visualize a world that's not present, right? And like better times, and things that are better for us. So you're right that people, creatives do need to just get out more. Yeah, do the thing, bro. Like, there's a dope example that I just saw today. So a friend of mine, he makes like really beautiful paintings. He paints like some of the top artists, you know. He's got Kim Kardashian, Drake. These people have his art, you know. Wow. That's what it is, right? That's awesome. But he, you know how he got in through the door? Like, he was like he was not known. He just started his work in 2020. He started painting like officially as an artist online. Okay. 2020, just 3 years ago. Okay. You know, and obviously it's a tough, you know, ladder to climb, you know, especially nowadays, right? So much art online. Definitely. It's just so then he drew like Drake and his son. Like after going through a lot, right? He drew Drake and his son, and it was a huge painting. And then he went to Drake's house, and the bodyguards wouldn't let him in, you know, obviously. Of course not, yeah. So he just like made something up real quick, like quick on his toes, you know, and he was like, yo, Drake's dad sent me here to deliver this, you know, this is look, it's Drake and his son, like his dad told me to, this is a commissioned painting. Oh, okay, for sure, go ahead.
Wow.
Goes in, boom, he gave him the thing, and Drake was there. They, you know, they took
Holy
pictures together.
Shit, that's wild,
right? But that's like just one story, you know, like that's like a, you know, one-off. That's an outlier, you know, like we can't replicate that. So like, what the fuck, right?
Sure.
But like that entrepreneurial mindset of like, you know what, we're just gonna go out there and try the shit, you know?
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah, that fearlessness. I think artists can win by doing that, and I know the art is very close to the creators. It all is, you know, even for entrepreneurs making brands, it's close, you know, like it's never that, you know, like Elon is going nuts over X, you know, like it's so close to him, like anybody says anything about X on Twitter is like blocked. Fuck off, man, I don't like you.
It's not even Twitter anymore.
Can you calm down,
like,
guys?
oh god,
like, but it's so close to their heart, you know. But for us outsiders, we're looking at Elon and going like, what? Can you relax, bro? Like, what's going on, man? You know?
But you're right. It's
so close.
That is similar. Know? That's a parallel between both artists and entrepreneurs. That they're very close to what they bring into the world.
Yeah. And that business, you got to figure out your business as a creator, you know? Otherwise, you can't create for long. You have to stop creating at one point. You have to be like, all right, fucking.
Right.
I guess can't do this no more. You know? Like,
can't, man. Like, well, I do aim to get to a place where I don't want to work anymore. But it does. Yeah, I think but I think there's this innate thing inside of us as creatives and as entrepreneurs that gonna want to keep doing something to stay busy.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
Damn, yeah.
It's difficult for artists to feel like, for creatives to feel like, you know, if I monetize this thing, you know, it becomes about the money. It was never about the money. It was always about.
Okay, see, now that's where I really I humbly differ with most artists.
Good.
I've always been my own producer. I've always been like, no, we're getting this out. You can mix this till the goats come home, or whatever the hell that phrase is. Like, I'm not here to be just an artist. I always wanted to be an enterprise. But I think that's
right. You have. I've seen your logos and early, like you started the work with like a brand. Yeah.
Like, and you know, Nas has that line in that Khaled song, Nas album Done.
Yeah.
Like,
what was that line again?
Start a label, sign yourself.
Yeah,
it's a major key, something like that.
That's right.
And I was like, shit, man, I did that, and I did that before. Like, and I just logically speaking, I was like, we gotta have our own business. So as the world continued on, as I continued to grow, I think I got more and more into the craft, realizing like how much work I had to do on the mixing and mastering side, to where like I could like make a business off of that. So like, man, you get lost in that, you know, like that, like if you're learning a craft that like that tedious, like, because it's like tuning your ears. And you only get better by messing up people's songs. So like you have to keep going into that direction, and then they're like, okay, now like figure out how your profile best sells you. And it's like, oh god, now I got to represent all the shit that I do, you know, when no one's looking, really, just when I'm trying to be the best engineer that I can be. Now I got to get a camera on me. It's like nerve-wracking, you know. It's like, it's hard to document the process and feel like you're fully immersed in it. So a lot of the times, like, you know, I would leave it to when I had the budget, you know, and I could get somebody to just like film this, you know, like audio, all of that, and then, you know, cobble it up together, whatever we can get out of it. And I do see the value in that. It's just hard to like hold the camera and live life. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's, and as an artist, like, that's where I empathize, but not that whole money thing. Like, no, for sure. That like it's now about the money. Like, bro, I don't want to be there's no point in being a starving artist. There's no point in being a starving anything. So like, you got to figure that out. And I think your entrepreneurial advice here is like, it's like, that's directly related to your survival.
Absolutely. Like so many musicians that I've, you know, met over the years. tell me the same story over and over again. Oh, I don't like social media. Oh, I don't want to do the social media side. My manager keeps pushing me, so I guess I'll do one. It's like that, and it's I had this conversation just like a couple months ago with a guy who was like from Canada, like he was visiting, like he was touring, and he was telling me this, like, I guess I got to do a social media thing, bro, because my manager's bugging me. And I was like, yeah, of course, please do it. But it's like honestly, I get it. Like, I get it.
But you should show enthusiasm.
Yeah.
If you do understand the necessity of what's happening here, like, you gotta be enthusiastic about it. The Wiz Khalifa day-to-days.
Yeah, yep.
I love that. I love those. I love how it's edited. I love the timing of things. But I also love how whoever's holding the camera, whoever that it was, I think it was a guy named Bill, but then he changed. They're like a fly on the wall.
Yeah, they're just kids.
Things are just happening. Yeah,
they're just
things
kids
are just happening.
Yep,
and they're learning how to cobble it together.
Yeah.
And I think for some reason or another, people lack that sensibility of just capturing an artist's life. Now, granted, the artist has to live something, interesting, worth documenting. But I think the musical process is worth documenting. It just takes like a certain kind of person to know, like, okay, how can we best capture all of this so that we can sell it and edit it? And there is that talent out there. I'm not saying that there isn't, and I have worked with that talent as well, but more so on music video things. But this documentary thing, behind the scenes, the extra things that we want to build the brand with, it takes a different lens, right?
Brand is always going to stand out, even if AI is around. Brand is going to be the one who saves your ass,
Right. As long as you have something unique, something that's you're
unique,
yourself.
Yeah. Who you are is like the most unique thing. You know what I mean? Because like, for us to be born, it's like 1 in a 400 trillion chance that we're born.
Yeah.
That's very weird, And so like.
Yeah. When you know that there's like 6 billion people on this earth, like. Those chances, damn, even then,
yeah.
Wow.
We could be somebody else.
You're right.
Is what that means, And
right.
so, just being yourself is the brand. And online, if we can show authenticity and vulnerability, it's a win for the brand. The brand builds through vulnerability and authenticity.
Right.
That's the energy that the internet, like the people want to see on the internet, and like that spreads faster.
It's genuine.
It's genuine.
It's not like it's not dependent on any gimmicks.
Right.
It's something that can last. It can be sustainable.
Yeah.
And it's something. Yeah, man. It's just it's a whole new adjustment these days for artists now to attach entrepreneurship, if that's what you're thinking about doing.
Right.
And living off of it. Because there was a time where you could just sell your art to people who would then further repurpose it,
right,
in whichever way.
Right.
But that doesn't really exist as much anymore. And if not as much, there's this other avenue, which is being your own brand,
right,
controlling your destiny. And it does take a little bit of getting used to, I think, in the beginning.
Right.
Essentially capturing everything, your day to day, to make that the fuel for whatever you're gonna use to represent your brand.
Right.
Is that's a learning process.
And then on one side of the scale is that where you gotta like have that entrepreneurial side and build that brand, but then there's the other side of the spectrum where it's like you can also focus solely on the product, like on the product side.
Yeah.
Creating a product that is awesome and adding like a lot of value to the world, where people will get entertainment out of it, or people will learn something out of it, or experience something new from it. That product, if it's dope as fuck, like if the artist goes and focuses on the product, making it the best ever,
right,
then there's also an opportunity where it spreads itself because it's so dope that now everybody wants to share it with other people.
Right.
There's a way to do that, and entrepreneurs do this all the time, where it's like, even Steve Jobs talked about like make the product the best. Like Steve Jobs was like one of the kings of this, where
product
like
first.
Make Apple the product first, product first, and like make it dope. But even still, in those brands, they then focused on the marketing,
Yeah. Oh,
Steve Jobs' like
way
Apple
more.
marketing was like epic, and it spread faster, like just the marketing.
There's a balance.
Recently, Alex Hormozi, he's become like a big thing on YouTube, and his main thing is like add a lot of value for free, give it away, so that they want things from you, like give, and then wait for them to ask. That's his philosophy.
It's true.
So recently he gave away a lot of like knowledge on the internet, and so he spread fast. And then he wrote a book. He started writing this book like 2 years ago. Really spent a lot of time, 6 hours a day, just focusing on the book and like making it the best book ever, like full of knowledge, full of everything, know, and like really focused on that, and like really made a good product, Right. But after he was done with that, he did a huge marketing splash.
Right.
Like he invested in marketing. He did a lot of like intense
marketing is essentially getting the message out there.
Yeah, he did that heavily. But
effort.
He did that process afterwards,
Okay.
And so like even making the product dope can be a great way for it to spread by itself.
Yeah.
But even that needs marketing.
Even that does.
It's like
it's part of it.
Yeah, you just got to marry the two,
Yes.
And then I believe like entrepreneurs should also have the heart that the artists have. Artists have that heart, the creative energy. Entrepreneurs should put the heart in their products as well,
Right.
And those are the winning products.
And I think that's what people gravitate towards.
Yeah, the passion.
Like, when you radiate that, and you put that on display every time you speak about whatever it is that you're representing.
Yeah,
I think that's when people are kind of, sometimes they might be a little bit turned off or turned away because it's intense.
For sure.
But a lot of the times people are drawn to that.
Right.
And I think that's not to call back to Kanye, but yeah, like he is an artist through and through. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when he goes off, when he starts doing and saying things, some of it might be nonsensical. I mean, in recent years.
Right.
But when he was still the old Kanye, the graduation Kanye type, there was a spirit about him that was very artistic.
Right.
And like it took things he took his music very seriously. He took everybody around him very seriously. So yeah. And then, but he was like notorious with like the marketing side too. You can see this.
Yeah.
All up and down.
Yeah.
The fashion, the antics,
absolutely
the tweeting.
Right.
So
yeah, you gotta marry the two. Like it gotta have the heart and the capitalism like together. The heart plus capitalism.
Yeah.
And
it's a balance. And
you gotta balance the two. You can't be too capitalistic because then the audience will get turned off. Like, what the fuck? This guy just wants to sell us shit all the time.
Yeah.
Too capitalistic.
Say something, damn it.
Yeah. And then you can't be too just the heart, you can't just be the heart without any capitalism, because then you'll just not monetize. You gotta monetize.
There's gotta be some level of appeal, some level of, and like you were talking about branding also like earlier, saying how there's things that are familiar in people's lives that you are then associating yourself with that.
Right.
So that word familiar, being familiar, but then still having your own.
Right.
That being familiar part is difficult for some of us because we focus so much on trying to be different.
Right.
That like, unless you tell me that this sounds like this to you, I don't think I'll, like, you know what I mean? Like, do it consciously or anything like that.
The example of this you'll see in the Unfiltered brand, all the content on YouTube or Instagram or social media is like, they have similar cuts like other content that are like podcasts.
Sure.
Similar cuts, similar type of edits, similar feel, the familiarity, but the difference makers are us and what we're talking about.
Right here.
That's
so
it's
awesome.
Like the familiarity plus that uniqueness.
Yeah.
Kind of married together. That's the brand, and we don't have to even think about this, like it's just the brand, we're not actively thinking that, I gotta bring something familiar to the audience. It's nothing like that, because it's just built in like that.
Yeah, and excuse me, I think maybe you were doing this because this is where your instincts were taking you.
Yeah, I mean that's from practice, from past,
exactly.
experience.
So that like
that's how we always done social media is like familiarity with the uniqueness,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that.
Yeah.
For sure.
You got to give them like something that they feel like, oh yeah, I feel this, I've seen this before, but this is different in this way. Holy shit,
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll run into artists like that. The other day I ran into this artist, like he was from the Middle East.
Yeah.
His quality was so dope. So the Familiarity was like it had the Kendrick Lamar video feels.
Okay.
Like it was similarly like unique and similar feel to a Kendrick Lamar video.
So it was a video, like this video director.
A music video.
He was on point
video.
then.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah, it was the artists. I think the artist is very much involved in this process. But they have a huge team, and yeah, they did something really dope like that.
Okay.
And but he's like a Arab, like he's a rapper who's rapping in Arabic, you know. But he had the familiarity of the Kendrick type of videos, but like the music was different. I was like, holy shit. You know, he married the two very well.
Wow.
You know?
So you could tell he was influenced by those
absolutely
those visuals, but he put his own spin on it with his stuff. Right. So inherently it'll be different. Right. Yeah, no, artists need to be more business minded. Yeah. That's just really the crux of all of this. And I think people need to, if you're starting out now, just know music is more than music. If you're trying to be in the business, it's not just that. So
you're in the attention business.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Come in with that mindset. Like, how am I going to keep people's attention to fucking listen more than 15 seconds? You know, because you're saying some shit, but unless they like really love you, and I think that's what a lot of this brand building stuff is. Yeah, is to get people to fall in love with you.
Yeah, and storytelling will keep them on.
Yeah,
you know, the stories,
so that they have a little bit of patience with your music, or with your output, whatever it is.
Whatever it is that you're working on.
Yeah, so that they listen through, they'll read through, they won't just tune away. They'll keep all of this stuff in mind.
They'll just keep it in mind.
Sorry, I'm processing it as we go along. That's dope. I appreciate it, bro.
I think that was a good episode. Like, we have some like nice little, you know, gems and some informationals in this episode.
Hell yeah.
And we'll just keep growing and like, you know, deliver more value.
Hell yeah.
All right, bro. Thank you, man.
For sure. Peace.